Do you ever say anything that sounds similar to something else that you know you didn't say, or think like almost like talking to yourself, and you're like, I know what I meant, but that other thing, what I was trying to formulate, that sounds terrible, right? And you are like, why would I correct myself this way? If I know what I meant, then the way I should correct myself is just like finding better, a where you don't have to be so careful, like find a better conveyance. So you're looking for this better conveyance because you you don't deserve to fall into those pitfalls and have the failure to communicate and the chaos and the confusion, however temporary it might be, till you straighten everything out. Like, you want to skip that, you want to navigate around it, and you get better and better. Because like I'll tell you, like, it's dangerous because some people will lead you to believe that you meant something if it's the right subject in the right way, where you could even be confused yourself. Most of the time you can't be confused because you know what you mean, but there's some things as far as like with dialectics, and well, I told you before that water has an electric body. It's a dialectic bubble. It could be an allegory to something that takes place within entropy and even forces of nature, and forces deteriorate. So the conveyance too, and you have to do a lot of work to keep your wavelength, because so maybe you have a very exceptionally effective communication tool or a conveyance. Somebody can be jealous. You don't think about it like that, and the dialectics will rob you. Because remember when that little kid made that frog cartoon and it became a popular meme on the internet, and then the media said that it was a dog whistle, and then they hounded this guy and they tracked him down, and they had brought a journalist in and fucking interviewed him to rationalize what they were doing. They made that kid apologize profusely for having created a Nazi symbol. He had no idea. You understand? So like, I'm not saying he is a chump or he's a mark or he is a punk or he's a coward, because they played on his mind and they maybe act like his friend, and then when the camera was rolling, then they turned on their other side. You know what I mean? He was too naive. So that has nothing to do with your, because like, let's say, because some people like to be offended, and it's dangerous. If somebody, like, let's say someone's speaking Spanish, back in the 90s or something, there was Blockbuster Video, and this Mexican dude was asking me, "Hey, you know where Black Bastard?" Like that, you know what I mean? "You know what, Black Bastard?" Like this. I knew what he really meant, right? But there's people that won't give a fuck because they like doing this. And of course, you already know flip-flopping is whack. Members of the counterculture had stepped off their position and flip-flopped in their whole position because they were trying to be edgy, you know. And at some point in time, because it's a pendulum shift and a perspective and a paradigm, like whatever is something that is like, oh, they're so true about, you know what I mean, there's going to be an example or an exception for when that is not necessarily true or the case. And everything gets tested, and it's a kind of you're also on a like a direct and a alternating current is kind of like a symbol, like a straight line is a direct current, and a jagged line is alternating current. So like a frequency that is very like I would say like high pitch or something is going to be like it's going to be parabolic, so it's going to be more virulent. That's the word, so more virulent wave pattern, right? And you're here, right? So when that, if you think of the wave pattern as the truth, if you can somehow get it to to intercede, like to cross, you know, more frequently, then it will become less virulent, you know, and less abrasive. That's not going to help somebody who says, excuse me, sorry, you know what's black bastard? You know what, black bastard? You know, like this, asking me for directions. But people who ignore, if they know what you really mean, those people, truth interacts with them virulently. You know, it's like more spaced out. It's less, if for someone who can read people and respond appropriately, it's got to be that their intercession with the truth happens more frequently. So the other crossing pattern, the wavy line pattern, can't veer as much and be an abrasive. And so what they get back for what they're messing around with, because if they take advantage of certain people, maybe they don't like you, then they can just social engineer and use dialectics. And it's like become so easy for everybody's like on a level that they've been taught this, you know, and it doesn't pay to sell out. It sucks more, it costs more. So I mean, I don't know, like there are still people that were crucified upside down for their faith and everything. So that's not like a bliss rap scenario you could say, like you know, that it's this every time. But given your starting point and where you're eventually going to end up, it would be better and simpler, easier, and more fun the less you sell out. And I mean, I'm not saying I never sold out before, like, you know, selfish teenagers, self-absorbed or entitled, like youth and stuff. You don't think clearly. That's the whole point I'm trying to make, is that it's not clear thought. It's not clear thought. But I mean, of course, you already know that what I'm describing and what I'm pointing out and everything. It's just amazing that people have an appetite. It's like people have an appetite for fuckery, and it's like sometimes it's like they're so waiting for like they're trained on impulse, and they're ready for what they already know is going to happen and what they see negative and everything. Then they come up with this noble lie, you know, the Fabian. So they have a, it's like they're too important for the, something is too important for the truth right now. So, but then at one point in time, I guess you can remember, like, you're having double standard or something. Like, there's just blatant obvious double standards that people think is just cool in the gang. So you can go and be like that if you want to, and you can enjoy the comforts of Cool World for a little while. It lures people in with the comforts, and then it gets destroyed, and a lot of people in Cool World get destroyed. Some of them are spared, get another chance. And then some people have Stockholm Syndrome. So it's like, I can't believe it there, though. It's like, I'm like, that lightweight, like, I don't understand it. It's like Reek. Remember this, in Game of Thrones, and the freaking Ironborn, and the dude, when they went to rescue the knight, that knight of the Ironborn, he was like, he had been totally subverted, like in the soul, like in everything. Like, they took everything from him, and then they built him back up a little, gave him a little, you know what I mean? And he was Reek. He was just like, you know, just like to be Reek. He didn't want to be like Ironborn, like nobility and stuff like that. And girls get the Stockholm Syndrome too, like, easy. You know, like those, like their boyfriend will steal the car, enjoy riding it, and then leave it abandoned, and she won't want the car back. Like, she won't want to go claim it. I don't want to give too many examples of that, because that's one that someone that's far enough away that I'm not related to, and I'm not talking about them directly. But there's a lot of women like have something similar going on, where they may have caught somebody that did them wrong, and then like didn't sue them or something, because like they had everything in a civil case and everything prepared, and then they didn't go forward when it was a slam dunk or something. Like, so you could be doing women a disservice by believing all women, because what if half of those women know better and looking at you like, you know, like, they're okay, you're gonna go try to get further and manipulating them and keeping them in that state. So it's almost like, it seems like women ruin everything, but it's not until someone simps. It's not until simping. So, I mean, it's like, I'm not gonna point on anybody if they changed or anything, because it's like what's the saying? Satan has something that every man appeals to every man. There's one thing that Satan has that appeals to every single man. So you can, I mean, I could say simping is terrible and it's the biggest problem and everything, but then I'm gonna remember something, and it's like, fucking cringe, like fucking going back to when you're most awkward, and fucking, you know, have maybe some domestic or something, and there's some imbalance or some domestic shit, and a lot of fucking things you can't focus and be normal. You can't be natural. Or you have this imbalanced energy, and it's gonna be like almost a lifetime to, it's gonna take like maybe into your adulthood, you know, or you like when you do get your balance, you're gonna be like, I could have been rich a long time ago. Like, because I'm stressing over all the wrong shit. All right.